Austin's housing market is now the #1 buyer's market in the US. Most people think that that means it's time to buy, but living here in 2026 is very, very different from the Austin you see online. Today, I'm going to break down the real pros and cons that decide whether you'll love it here or regret the move. After 25 years of helping hundreds of families relocate, I'll share the one thing that surprises everyone, and it's not price tags or traffic. Housing affordability fluctuations. Austin's housing market jumped 40% in 2021, pushing tons of people out. Now, prices are still sitting about 33% higher than before our pandemic. The median home costs nearly $560,000 here in Austin, and that's way above the national average. And here's the kicker. Even though the market cooled off, affordability is still a major issue, and that's why it is our first con. Homes are spending around 60 days on the market. Nearly 60% of all listings are seeing price drops. The wild price surge is over, but prices haven't come back down to where they were. And now get this, affordability varies wildly by neighborhood. So some areas never really cooled and others dropped but are still expensive compared to 2019. You're playing a completely different game depending on which part of Austin you're looking at. Right now, if you're selling, it's kind of brutal. The cooling market is hitting sellers hard. Your home sits longer and you're more likely to drop your price, and you don't have the negotiating power you had 2 years ago. Now, here's the flip side. If you're buying, the shift actually works in your favor. Austin is now ranking as the #1 buyer's market in the United States right now. You can negotiate and get seller concessions that just did not happen in the pandemic housing surge. The market stabilized after that crazy run up, but jobs are what keep people coming despite these prices. So pro #1 is our strong job security across tech, creative, and innovation sectors. Austin is expensive, and the only way that works is if the job market keeps up. And that is our pro #1. So let's look at what's actually happening with employment, because the numbers explain why people keep coming to Austin despite the prices. Employment jumped 2.2% in August this year. We saw 1.4% growth from December 2024 to August 2025. So that beats both Texas at 1.2% and the whole country at 0.6%. And here's what's crazy. Tech makes up 16% of all jobs in Austin compared to the 9% national average. Apple Computer has over 10,000 employees here. Tesla has more than 20,000 people, and Dell Technology headquarters sits in Round Rock. Meta, Amazon, Google, Oracle, IBM, the list goes on. And here's what I love. It's spread out. The University of Texas employs nearly 24,000 people. The state of Texas has around 64,000 employees here. And healthcare keeps expanding. Creative industries are thriving with film, music, and design. If you're in tech, that 16.3% concentration means options. You're not locked into one company or betting everything on a single employer. And if you work in healthcare or creative fields, having many solid industries here makes up the job market, makes it feel a lot steadier. Now, multiple job hubs mean you're not tied to just downtown, which brings us to the daily reality of getting to those jobs. So before we go deeper, if you're planning a move to Austin and need help figuring out which neighborhoods actually match your life and your budget, we help people with that every single day. Send us an email. The info is in the description. Let's get back to it. Con #2 is our traffic and our transportation challenges. Let me be straight with the second con. Austin drivers spent 39 hours sitting in traffic in 2024. That puts Austin as #22 for the worst traffic in the US and the most congested city in Texas. If you're commuting daily, this isn't background noise, this is your life. So you need to know exactly what you're signing up for. Many parts of I-35 in Austin rank among the most jammed up in the state. And our public transportation is seriously limited for a metro area of over 2 million people. We do have buses, we have Metro rapid high-frequency lines, and the Red Line commuter rail. But compared to other big cities, it's just not even close. Back in the 1970s, the city actually said no to an outer loop road because they did not think people would move here. Well, needless to say, the metro grew from over 840,000 people in the mid-1990s to over 2.5 million today. So, you're going to need a car in Austin. Unless you live and work downtown or in a very specific spot, you're going to need a vehicle. Rush hour commutes can be brutal on I-35, Mopac, and major east-west roads. But People handle those 64 hours of traffic for a reason. Our outdoor lifestyle here is insane, and it's the trade-off that keeps Austin unbeatable. So this brings us to our second pro. Pro number 2 is our outdoor lifestyle and green space access. Austin lives outside. It's a city where the outdoors is part of everyday life, not just something you do on a weekend. And nowhere shows that better than our crown jewel, Zilker Park. This is Austin's backyard. It's about 350 acres and is where the biggest events in the city take place. But I'll get into that later, so stay tuned. What I want to highlight right now is Barton Springs Pool, which sits right inside Zilker Park. It's one of the most iconic spots in Austin. It's a natural pool of about 3 acres. What is so special about it is it stays around 69 degrees all year round. You can swim in December, you can feel the cold spring water, look up, and you can see our downtown skyline. It's really unreal, and it's part of our daily life here. And just above Barton Springs, you've got the Barton Creek Greenbelt. It's about 7 miles of trails through cliffs, trees, and clear water when we have our natural springs bring out clear water. There's hiking, mountain biking, and rock climbing. It all ties together, and you can spend the morning on a greenbelt and finish the day cooling off on Barton Springs. Then there's Town Lake Hike and Bike Trail, which is a 10-mile trail that goes around Lady Bird Lake and runs straight through downtown. It is always full of walkers, runners, cyclists, and paddleboarders. It's buzzing with energy every single day. You seriously can't miss the vibe. The city feels alive outside. We've also got Peace Park, a big green space in the middle of the city that ties into Shoal Creek Trail and then ultimately connects down to Town Lake. There's Emma Long, a huge park on Lake Austin. We've got waterfalls and hiking right in the Kenny Falls State Park, which is right down the street from our awesome Easton Park. And up north, there's Walnut Creek Trail, which gives you miles of trails for biking, running, and you name it. The outdoor lifestyle is woven into everything here. Gyms are on every corner. Fitness culture is huge. If you're raising kids, those 350 acres at Zilker Park aren't just parks, but where your family spends weekends. If you're active and fitness matters, this outdoor access is worth thousands in gym membership and vacation costs. But that active lifestyle comes with real costs. So here's our third con, rising cost of living. Let's be real, everything got more expensive. Basic utility costs run about $170 to $200 a month, and that spikes during summer when the AC just runs and runs constantly. And wait until you see what Austin's extreme summer heat does to electricity bills. And that's another con that's coming up, so keep watching. Now, here's the thing about Austin utilities. They're regulated by the city. Unlike Dallas and other city markets where you pick your provider, electricity is supplied by the municipal utilities, so you don't get to shop around for better rates. Groceries for one person run about $350 to $450 a month, and I'm now paying $25 for a salad that used to cost $12. Commercial rents went up for restaurants and yoga studios, so they pass those costs straight to you. And get this, everything's gone up, but it feels tied to national inflation. Austin isn't necessarily worse than everywhere else, but it's definitely not the affordable city it used to be. Now, here's where it gets relative. If you're coming from California, that $400 to $500 grocery bill feels super normal. But if you're coming from Texas suburbs, that $25 salad is a shock. And on the flip side, is that we have no state income tax in Texas. What you pay more for in utilities, property taxes, and daily stuff, you're saving on every paycheck. If you're used to paying high state income tax in California, not paying that in Texas saves you a ton. Enough to make Austin's higher prices a lot easier to handle. Austin costs more than it used to, but compared to other major metros where people actually want to live, we are still in the game. And the new neighborhoods and districts going up right now are changing the whole math of living here. And that is our third pro. Pro number 3, expanding mixed-use districts and urban amenities. Austin used to be a city where you had to drive everywhere, and that is changing really fast. We now have places where you can walk to work, you can grab dinner, catch a movie, shop, and meet friends for drinks, all without getting in your car. One of the biggest examples of this is in the Domain in North Austin. It's a huge mixed-use district that's turning into Austin's second downtown. You've got luxury shopping, hundreds of restaurants and entertainment, and you also got the high-rise offices and thousands of homes all in the same walkable area. That's why people living there barely touch their cars. Everything they need is right out their front door. Development in this area is mind-blowing. Major tech companies like IBM, Amazon, and Meta have huge campuses here. The Domain isn't just for shopping, It's where people live, work, exercise, and hang out. And down south, the St. Elmo district is getting a massive makeover. This new project will add about 200,000 square feet across 8 buildings, including retail, restaurants, and offices. This joins the station at St. Elmo, and new spots like Pim's Mechanical Company opened in April this year. And it's not just a domain, North Burnett Gateway is growing into a walkable, high-density area as well. There's a whole new district coming together along the south side of Lady Bird Lake, and even Cedar Park is getting its own version of the domain-style hub. Overall, these districts cut down commute times and create complete little villages around the metro. Now, those walkable districts sound perfect, but building them means living through the construction and chaos first. And that's definitely a con for 2026. We'll see that chaos everywhere. Con number 4 is construction fatigue in all of our growth corridors. Jackhammers start outside your window at 7 a.m. on a Saturday. That will be Austin in 2026. The whole city is in motion. Major road upgrades are happening, and downtown is getting reshaped. New transit lines are being built, and private projects are popping up along every major corridor. You can see new high-rises going up everywhere you turn. And living through all of this growth means you're living with the side effects. There's noise, detours, roads, changing nonstop, and cranes everywhere you look. There's dust in the air and miles of orange cones. But here's the flip side. All this construction means the city's investing in its future instead of ignoring the problems that come with growth. I'll break down exactly what's being built and why it's worth every bit of the hassle, but that's coming up later in this video, so stay with me. For now, just think of it as a short-term pain for the long-term gain. But the one thing that never gets interrupted is Austin's cultural scene, and that's our next pro. Pro number 4 is our strong cultural scene. Food, music, events. Austin isn't just growing economically. The food and music scene is exploding with national attention. Austin is the live music capital of the world, and it actually lives up to that name. We've got over 250 live music venues across the city, from historic spots like the Continental Club and big stages like Moody Theater and the Moody Center. And the music styles are all over the map. We've got blues, country, rock, electronic, hip-hop. Every single night, you can find something incredible and different. Then you've got all of our festivals. South by Southwest brings the world to Austin every spring. Austin City Limit Music Festival takes over Zilker Park every fall. Austin's Food and Wine Festival highlights the food scene. And there are dozens of smaller events happening all year round. And speaking of food, wow, Austin earned 7 Michelin stars in 2024, including spots like Barley Swine and Hestia. 16 restaurants made the Bib Gourmand list. And here's another wild part. Some of those Michelin stars went to food trucks. You can get the finest food for prices that won't hurt your wallet. And the awards keep coming too. The James Beard Foundation keeps recognizing Austin talent, and the city's food lineup is stacked. If live music and food culture matter to your lifestyle, this is what you're actually paying for. Austin's food culture never lets up. But all this cultural access plays out against weather that'll shock you if you're not prepared. Let me break down what 100-degree days actually mean with the following con. Number 5, our seasonal heat and weather extremes. Austin summers are long, and they're hot. They're like really, really hot. We're talking about 15 or more days a year hitting 100 degrees or more. And climate forecasts saying heat waves are only getting stronger and longer. What that means in real life is simple. The AC runs nonstop from June to October. Our electricity bills jump, outdoor plans shift to early mornings or late evenings, and you learn where the shade is. You carry water everywhere, and because Austin is humid, the heat feels heavier than what you get in a dry climate. Once a winter, you can pretty much count on a hard freeze, ice storms, and when that happens, the whole city shuts down. We're just not set up for winter weather. We don't have fleets of salt trucks, and most Austinites do not know how to drive on ice. The hills make it even more dangerous. Flash flooding is another concern. Austin sits in steep hills and thin soil. This makes heavy rain turn dangerous fast. Extreme rain events are happening more and more often, and by the way, where Austin sits matters, especially if beaches or big scenery are your thing. And that's our last con, so keep watching. So here's the truth. Most people just adjust. You shift your schedule in the summer, you prep for the one-off freeze, and you learn which areas flood so you can avoid them when the storms roll in. But here's what balances out those extreme summer days. We have really mild winters and a long warm season. Our 5th pro is the incredible midwinters in Austin. Winter highs are usually in the low 60s with lows in the low 40s. Plenty of days hit in the upper 60s and even into the upper 70s, which is perfect for being outside. You can hike in January, golf in February, outdoor dining in December. That's year-round access other cities just can't match. Parks and trails stay busy all year because the weather actually lets people use them instead of leaving them empty for months. You're not trapped inside for months dealing with snow and freezing temps. You're not shoveling driveways or scraping ice off of your windshield every morning. Here, you can use your pool nearly all year without needing much to keep it nice. So yeah, our summers are brutal, but you get 7 to 8 months of absolutely beautiful weather in exchange. That year-round outdoor access matters when you realize what Austin doesn't have, and that's our final con. We have no beaches, nor do we have mountains. We sit in the Texas Hill Country, which gives us beautiful rolling hills and limestone features. But we're not talking about dramatic mountain ranges or beach access. The Texas Gulf Coast isn't exactly the same as California or Florida beaches. Our hill country has scenic views, but it's not the Rockies or Sierra Nevada. You're not getting alpine hiking or skiing, and for some people, this is just a deal breaker. So if you grew up hitting the beach every weekend or spending winters in the mountains, Austin might feel landlocked. But there is an upside. Austin's airport has direct flights all over the country and internationally. It's about to get even better, but I'll tell you that in a minute. The thing is, you can easily fly to beach spots. Mountain resorts are accessible. Major cities are just a couple of hours away. Plus, the hill country itself has beautiful scenery. We have Lake Travis and Lake Austin give you water recreation. You don't have immediate access to beaches or mountains, but you're in a central spot with good connections to both. Pro number 6, growing transit and infrastructure upgrades. We know that one of the biggest cons in Austin is traffic, but that's about to change. The city just approved a $7 billion plan to fix this, and it's going to be huge. The biggest piece is a new light rail system. It'll include 15 stations. It'll connect places like the University of Texas, downtown, East Riverside, and South Congress. Plus, a new pedestrian hike and bike bridge is going over Lady Bird Lake. Construction is planned for early 2027, and it should start working a few years later, around 2033. This will give people a real way to avoid daily traffic. And it's not just future plans. The Red Line is already being upgraded to handle more riders and run more often. New stations are opening. One serves Q2 Stadium, which is our soccer stadium. Another is under construction in North Burnett, so the whole area is becoming a major hub. And more lines are on the way as well. The Green Line will connect downtown to Colony Park and may have an extension towards Manor and Elgin. And that's not all. The city expanded bus service, adding routes where buses show up every 15 to 30 minutes every day of the week. On top of transit, Austin is working to boost the airport capacity from 15 million to over 30 million passengers. Now, none of this happens overnight. There's going to be construction, and yeah, it's going to be annoying. And the biggest payoffs are still a few years away. But this is the kind of stuff that actually changes everyday life. Less time stuck in traffic, more walkable areas around stations, and finally, real options for getting around besides just driving everywhere. Austin grew fast, faster than its roads could handle, and this is the city finally catching up. And that brings us to what ties all of this together. Austin's moving fast, and it's not slowing down. Big changes are coming up. And the real risk isn't what's coming, it's waiting too long and realizing everyone else moved first. So, if you're ready to explore which specific neighborhoods match your priorities, shoot me an email at hello@ssgaustin.com. Just tell us what matters most and where you're coming from. My contact details are in the description below. And before you go, watch the video linked here where I break down the 7 Austin neighborhoods about to explode in 2026. The timing really matters on this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.